Oh, this thing's gonna pull me to New Guinea. The big G-banger. The absolute kings of the reefs and the flats. The mud crab kingdom, it'd just be full of big muddies. Seen 3 sets of rock slides. You're kidding. Yeah, the Sunset GT. The sun's just risen on day 8 of being out here by myself in this boat out on the outer Great Barrier Reef, remote northern part of Australia. I camped up in this little sandy cove here behind me last night, and I've got to travel 30 miles today and checking out 2 islands on the way to find food and most importantly a really good anchorage. This afternoon when I get there though, I wanted to give you a full rundown of the boat from the top all the way through the middle to the bottom, how it's set up and the gear that I've got, what I've been eating, how that's been going for me, but also just an honest insight into how this experience has been for me. It's a bit of a unique one, never done a long form trip like this by myself. Yeah, the funny thing is I think I've got like 3 or 4 weeks to go, I'd say. I hope in a week or 10 days I might have a mate or 2 joining me. All right, let's get into it. Before I get the anchor up, I've had jerky out here since lunchtime yesterday. It's just after 7 o'clock in the morning now. Yeah, I think this has ended up pretty good. I got a big nanagai yesterday. It was too much for me to eat in the afternoon. Yeah, it's not bad, but you could definitely use a bit of salt, pepper, olive oil, curry powder, or something to flavor it, but that's not bad. I did 2 trials. I did one up here in the sun and in the wind, and then the other one hanging in the back, which didn't fare as well. So I'd definitely do it only if you had sun, and chop them in really, really thin pieces. All right, I've done the full check of the boat. Anchor's up, jerky secure. Anyway, I got a bit of a steam. Let's do it.
What is this? Oh, what? Oh, little trout.
Just get a size gauge of that trout and that lure. It's almost the same size. Right, I've had an eagle-eye view of the island. It doesn't look like there's any entry points to it. It's a low-set mangrove island with fringing reef around it, hence the coral trout on the reef. I'd say it'd just be the mud crab kingdom. It'd just be full of big muddies. Going in now, it's just been high tide dropping. With a dropping tide, it means I'd end up on the rocks, the reef. So I'm going to opt out of the 6 to 8 hours committing on that island, and we'll press forward. Hopefully the next one's got a better entry point and anchorage. Alright, that was another 10 miles. We're coming up to the second island now. Fortunately, it looks much the same. Low set, a lot of mangroves, fringing reef, but I've yet to see around the other side, but looks calm and protected anyway. But yeah, we'll cruise around the back and see what's going. I'm just fingers crossed for a beach. I just want an access point. Alright, let's see if there's any fish. Oh look, there's sand. Look, there's a beach. We're on. Woo! Oh, I need to get closer. Oh, geez. What is that? Get off the reef. Get off the reef. Literally first cast. Oh, this thing's gonna pull me to New Guinea. Oh my God. How has that thing not pulled the hooks? The big G-banger. Woo! Oh my God. Oh, this is why we come out here to remote locations, so you can just catch this sort of a fish off the rocks, off the mangroves. Well, I'm trying to get it anyway. Oh, oh no, no, no. Don't go under the light. Oh well. Oh, oh. Oh! Oh my God! That is such a big GT. Well, let's get the hooks out, bud. What a spectacular fish, giant trevally. The absolute kings of the reefs and the flats. Got it in about 3 meters of water on the edge of those rocks off the mangroves. Have a go at him. All right, I'll get you back in the water, mate. Let's get you back in there. You ready to go, mate? Yeah, almost ready to go. Keep kicking. Such a strong fish. Ready? Back to the depths, no worries. Just out of all the things that I expected to happen just then, that wasn't high on the list. But I got restrict saw that. I've just cooked so many good GT to like not having the drag tight enough, or the hooks pulling, or getting rubbed around the reef. But that there by myself up here in remote Cape York, that's pretty deadly. All right, that's a super special way to start off, to kickstart the day. Anyway, let's go over to this sandy patch covered in mangroves. I can already see, pretty sure I can see some croc slides straight in the middle. Let's go check it out. All right, it's low tide, it's middle of the day, about 40 degrees, but I'm going out there.
Crocs, 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 no crocs.
Sure enough, there's the first croc slide. There's its feet, claws, and the tail. Relatively fresh, probably last night. Jeez, he's going cross country, this one. Up in here and headed up into the scrub. There's a lot of Torres Strait Island pigeons. You might be able to hear them. They're all nesting in these low shrubbery and the mangroves. The crocs would be coming up there to eat them when they're nesting at night, I'd say. Where another one's come up and down. That's two crocs, slightly bigger, this one. Ooh, someone's been hunting. These don't look recent, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's quite a lot of turtles' nests where they've come up here looking for a spot to lay eggs. Oh, this sand is hot. Seriously hot. Just thought I'd have a walk in these mangroves at the back. Looks like it could be pretty prime country for mud crabs. Feeder mud crabs would be very, very welcome. That tide is about to drop even further. The days really do revolve around the wind and the tide as to what you can do, where you can access, where's a good anchorage. So yeah, this seems to be a prime anchorage for what the wind's doing at the moment, but it's fairly rocky out the front, so I just really hope I don't get the anchor caught, my mooring anchor. A, important to me, and B, I don't want to jump in and grab it because I've seen 3 sets of croc slides. There'd be more getting around, but anyway, I'm gonna better anchor this boat, get the eyes up in the sky, check out the island, and then yeah, I'm thinking we either set a crab pot and or go into the mangroves with the hand spear to see if we can get ourselves a feed of crabs. Oh geez, that looks fresh as. That's a turtle egg. Maybe something's been into it. A type of lizard, or I wonder if the crocs would dig. You're kidding. That there is catch of the day. I'll open this up at the boat. So it's next to the turtle's nest, but that's actually one of the pigeon eggs or shells. Pretty cleanly cut. So light. That there's only come up in the last day or two and just been cooked in the sun. Crayfish shell. See how they shed back of the head, back of the carapace? They just slide out there and harden and fill into a new one. Good sign, but I will not be getting in the water here regardless. There's a heap of mullet and there's like a maybe 60 centimetre barra just sitting in the shallows there. Oh, that's so epic. Let's see if we can go up and get a closer look. Oh, there's mangrove jacks too. Oh my god. There's so many fish in here. Where'd that barra go? Oh, I really hope I'm not just trying to sneak in here and then the croc is sneaking up behind me. Wasn't exactly the stealth approach on my behalf, but really cool to see a barra. There's so many fish in here. But that barra and a jack's up over there, literally in like half a foot of water. Just trying to get a closer look at this barra. It's just there, about 2 meters in front of me. Stealthy as I can. Just there. Oh, there must be a dip is in between those mangroves. It's probably only 45 centimeters. Oh wow, that's so cool to see. but that there tells you where barra sit. Like that's just draining out of the mangroves, a lot of bait, little tiny prawns are flooding out of there, and it's just sitting here almost with its back out of the water, hunting at the mouth of it. Oh look, little mangrove jack. I'll keep moving around here. It's just that bit sandy here, I think. I reckon we've got to press forward around to the other side where it's a little bit more muddy to find, as the name suggests, mud crab. For those just tuning into the Blue Highway series now, this has been one of my tools that I'm trying to hunt with and get better with. This is a woomera, which propels this spear that I'm holding onto, made out of bamboo. And this is what original Australians, indigenous mob were hunting with extremely successfully, but I'm trying to. I got my first fish a couple of days ago, and I'm trying any opportunity to be able to get somewhat proficient with it. Look at this. It's really cool that there's like coral and rocks all up in these lagoons. They're right up against the mangroves. Oh, look at that, it's like a little spring. I'm going to start heading back towards the boat and then go around the other side, which is a bit muddier. So one thing I'll share with you that's been on my mind is obviously being out here by myself comes with like a certain level of risk, quite a high risk that if something was to happen, I'm on my own and a long way from help. I've got a marine radio in the boat and an EPIRB, which is like a locator beacon if I was to say the boat to sink in a storm or get seriously injured. But I just need to be really bloody careful, because if something was to happen, like even as an example, the other day I was walking in through the mangroves and I was like walking midway through the canopy, probably like a meter or meter and a half off the ground, and I stepped on what was a rotten mangrove root, and I fell through and ended up like back up, legs up, like a cockroach upside down in the mangroves. And like I looked all around me and there were just jagged sharp sticks and rocks and oysters like poking up, and I cut myself a little bit but nothing major. And I just thought, oh, if I fell and one of those spikes went through my neck or my spine or something to that degree, I would have been in a lot of trouble, like deep in the mangroves, like hundreds and hundreds of miles from any help. So yeah, I'm trying to remain as vigilant as possible. It looks prime country for mud crabs, but haven't seen any holes yet. It's a really old growth mangrove forest. Have a look at the size of this canopy. I'm just walking through, being very careful. It's about a meter or two off the mud, the really deep mud. So that's what we're looking for, where all this has been dug out to create a hole, a mangrove root system, but no one's home in there. A few holes, but no crabs. For a mosquito and sandfly ridden mud crabless hang that was, I still enjoyed checking it out. All right, find my hand spear and back to the boat. It is good on these long form trips to be able to not only have the time to explore, but the flexibility. Like I've been to 2 islands this morning after leaving my anchorage last night, and like I really like this island, but you know, like I've spent 4 or 5 hours, didn't get a feed of crabs, and I know that there's an island about 12 miles north of me here, so I'm just going to pull the anchors up and head up towards that one. This is okay, it's just pretty rocky, and there's a really big low tide tonight. We're coming up to the full moon. I would ideally like a sandy bottom, not a rocky reefy bottom, and I want to be tucked in as close as possible to the island, so if it blows a fair bit of wind during the night, it's still stable and you get a good sleep. So that tide's dropped out, hopefully I can get out of here. Let's press forward and hopefully find an even better hang. Let's go out there. This island looks absolutely prime and the anchorage is decent, however there's no way for me to get into the beach on low tide without swimming, which would be extremely stupid. So yeah, I don't think I'll be able to go in there at the moment or at all, which is a bloody shame. It looks really nice. Similar to the last island, only slightly bigger, and you can't get in there. There's rock bar in the way. That means onward. What looks like a sand cay in the distance, like 2 or 3 miles away. I've died and gone to heaven. There's hopefully no midgies. It's getting later in the day. It's almost 3:30 now, so I want to be finding an anchorage. We still need to find a bit of tucker. If we don't, it's no major because we've got that fish jerky and I can cook some rice up. All right, full tour of the boat, head to toe. Up the front, I've got 2 anchors, one that's a mooring line and another one that's connected to the anchor winch. Yeah, 2 up the front. The difference between the mooring line, it's just a lot heavier, a lot of heavy chain, and then a bigger size anchor and thicker rope in case, you know, caught in a storm. Want to have the confidence that it's going to hold you. Up the top here, got a spare swag, and I've got a range of different rods that are pretty much rigged up for different things. So like one for trolling for mackerel, a stick bait, one for trolling for yellowfin. This one was the one I got the GT on this morning, another one for creeks or big jacks and barras, and then a couple more at the back. So there's a few rods. Then under here at the helm, this one tells me how much fuel we've used, how much we are using, how much is left. Hopefully it's accurate because I've only got about 200 litres left and I need to get a fair way still. This obviously tells you what's going on underneath and where you are. Up here is generally like charging station. So I plug into 240 volt with this Dometic inverter, and you can plug in and charge drone, other appliances, laptop and whatnot. EPIRB for emergencies. Up the front here, I've pretty much just got everything dry. It's just a super dry area, first aid kit, more electronics, one nice set of dry clothes, dry clean clothes, some charts, books, a timber bow, flatline bow from Rob Nickel in Gordonvale, best bows going, a rifle, some very, very hot beers, and some boat repair kit. Then yeah, I've got 40 litres of water. I've got 2 of these. I've got some jackets for really rough or cold weather. That's what I'm sleeping on at night, the swag. Got more water there. Drone, warmerer. I keep food and cooking gear in that one. So the likes of rice, oil, condiments, curries. This is the really lightweight gas jet lighter I'm cooking on when I don't do a fire. I've got vinegar in these gunnels for cooking stuff plus jellyfish stings. Oh, this is such a good thing. It's like a hammock stretcher that goes between both sides. It's good for siestas. In here's an esky that I originally had ice with some beers and chocolate in, which didn't last the 2-day drive to where we launched from. I've got rum rations, more vinegar, hand lines, fuel jerrys, hand spears, rope at the back, crab pot, a little bit of a fishing workbench, filleting station, more spare thick 20mm rope, back anchor, which is super important and gets used absolutely every day. Down this side I've got another hand spear and a couple of different sized Rob Allen spear guns. In here's dive gear, jerky, still having some thinking time, back to basics, blades, which are fantastic, check them out if you're in the market for blades. Jerry's deck wash, which goes salt, and there's fresh, which is just like something I've never had before on these long trips, and just a real treat to have like 100 litres or something of fresh water underneath that you can have as backup for drinking, cooking rice with, or just giving your face or your hands a bit of a spritz before either having a sleep, or hands especially for dealing with the electronic stuff like your drones and your controllers. Yeah, otherwise everything's just constantly salty, so that's been a real luxury to have that. In here I've got fishing gear, and then this is just quick access cooking gear, so oil, soy, chili, salt, pepper. This is pretty much the knife I'm using every day. It's a back to basics Jack in the Bear knife, sharpener, cast iron pan, and then yeah, got 11 jerrys on board, the other 4 in there. If you're doing this again, I'd bring another 3 or 4 jerrys at least. I wish I had more fuel. It is a little bit limiting that I can't cruise around a bit more because I'll literally run out of fuel. I keep a short gaff here made by my mate Riflebird with some honey in there. Don't ask me why it's there. I've got a tourniquet for emergencies, and this PLB, which if I'm going for like a really big walk, especially through the mangroves, I'll have that in my back pocket in case snake bites me, croc grabs me, I fall and break both of my legs or something like that. If I can't get back to the boat, I can get help to me. So that's about it. Batteries are at the back, and under the seats is the safety gear like flares and life jackets, a little bit more boat repair kit and shifters and that sort of stuff there. Yeah, outside of that, that's the rundown. If you got any more questions, let me know. I'll do my best to answer. Yeah, probably the biggest thing is that it's like being able to sleep here very comfortably if you got a good anchorage has just been a massive game changer, because most land masses that like I'd be sleeping on, like even that there, right there, 15 meters away on that sand spit, there's a 3-meter croc slide just literally sitting there. So there's a croc here that lives here, eats turtles and crabs and fish, and does its best here. Absolutely love to rip me out of a swag and have me for dinner. So yeah, it's been a massive safety factor being able to sleep here and not have to like wade out into the water for anchoring and jumping in the boat. So probably one of the most practical things we got honestly is these coffee bags. They're fantastic for filleting on, putting crabs in. I don't know if you saw in the last episode, caught this big nana guy, and I don't have any way of refrigeration. You have no fridge, no ice, and keeping that wet and wrapping your product in it will keep it for sort of 6 to 8 hours as long as there's good breeze and out of the sun. So that's the rundown. Anyway, let's have a walk around this island, see if there's anything going on. Honourable mention today goes out to fish jerky. Snack of the week. It's been on the roof for a couple of days and it keeps getting better and better, to be honest. Good sized croc. Somewhere out front beach. That looks like a fad or a fish attraction device that some countries put in the water to create like a little mini ecosystem. That's what it looks like, and it's snapped obviously. Bugger. Bugger. I was really hoping this was going to be good, but it's a bit rotten, unfortunately. Maybe the meat's a bit salvageable. Oh, smells horrible. Oh, smells really horrible. Oh. Yeah, normally it doesn't look like that. Well, coming to the end of the 8th day, how's the last week or so been by myself out here? Yeah, overall it's been great. There's definitely been times where I've felt like lonely and I've wanted a mate out here, which was mainly in the first 2 or 3 days. Always a little bit anxious going on a long form trip, going away from devices and home and work and family and commitments and all that sort of stuff. But soon you very well lose track of what time it is, what day it is, and you just slip into the tides, waking up with the sun, when the sun goes down, the wind, and yeah, what's happening environmentally around you. But yeah, I think for me, I'm definitely someone who is both extroverted and introverted. So as much as I love being around people, meeting a lot of new people and the hustle and bustle at times, I very much, same amount if not more, get recharged by spending time alone. So I have found it largely beneficial. It's given me a great sense of confidence. One of the tricky things is you don't have anyone to cross-reference your decisions with, so you need to make all your decisions yourself. Is this the best anchorage? Should we stay here? Where should we hunt? When should we hunt? Is this too risky? Yeah, you got to make all those calls yourself, which at first was a little bit daunting. Yeah, I'm very much loving it. For now, I hope you've enjoyed coming along for the ride. If this is the first episode you've watched, this is a series called The Blue Highway. Traveling up the ocean, exploring, living off the land, challenging myself where possible, but wanting to share it all with you is to try and get as many people outdoors as possible. For now, I'm gonna enjoy the rest of the sunset. I think we've got light for the next half hour. I'll better anchor the boat, need to move it out because we've got a big low tide tonight. I caught a big fish today, caught the big GT and the undersized coral trout. Let them both go, no mud crabs. But I got absolute perler of a largemouth nanagai yesterday, and I've got some jerky that I've made, so I'm gonna have that with a bit of rice. I guess that's all that's going tonight for dinner. Yep. Right on sunset. You beauty. Could be dinner. Oh, what is it? Yeah, the Sunset GT. Oh, sorry mate, I think your dinner, eh? Filming, walking around the side of the boat, trying to catch a fish, but going on. At least the jerky will last a couple of days, but fresh fish should be good. Right on the final hour, dinner. Little Island GT. I think one thing that's definitely worth noting is that the perception of time's really changed. So each day, so much is happening, so many different things. Feels like a couple of days in one. So I've been out here 7-8 days, and it honestly feels like a couple of weeks. So yeah, time's really slowed down. It really does feel like I still have time to rest and reflect. And I've been having a half an hour siesta most days, which I sort of never do in my life. So that's been good. But yeah, outside of that, I'll keep filming most days when there's things happening. But tomorrow I'll travel further north, hopefully have a good safe night again tonight, and keep playing it day by day.